some strategies, how we can really rock this thing on the East Coast, and some very specific action steps that we can take to move to the next level.
One of the things that I would, as far as specific action steps, when we started in the beginning, it was every night it was a party somewhere. And the activity is, the work is challenge parties, right? We do challenge parties, challenge parties, challenge parties. I mean, it's the second step in the getting started training, but it's probably the most important step. He who does the most parties wins, period. Okay? I mean, we are a party company. They pay us to promote a fitness and a weight loss challenge, and the way we expose people to the challenge is through a challenge party. So, if you're doing an activity of maybe 12, 15 challenge parties a month, that's a good pace, all right? 15 is kind of a go-getter pace, but if you really, really want to see some major results, you're going to get it north of 20 parties a month. Get up 25, 30 parties a month. We were doing 30 parties a month and didn't even realize it. All right, so every night I was doing a party somewhere, and we're following the GST. There's a pattern that we call it the loop, the pattern. It starts with the list. That's the first thing, right? You make the list, then you pre-party, right? You pre-party with this person, and then you have a challenge party, right? After the challenge party, you run them through a GST, the getting started training, and then what do you do from the GST? You go back up, you make a list with that person, schedule a pre-party, right? Do a challenge party, GST, and you keep duplicating that and rotating that pattern down in depth in your organization with every person that comes on the team. It's the same pattern. Yes, ma'am.
When you say you did a challenge party every night, was that challenge party pre-party?
Okay, good question. Good question. Some nights you have to take off and pre-party and not challenge party. Okay, but here's my thinking. This is just me. I'm kind of fanatical. If I did a pre-party on a night, I didn't take a night off just to pre-party. I'd go do a one-on-one on my way to pre-party. I go see.
A one-on-one and a challenge.
Yeah, and don't think that a challenge party is always this big deal where there's 15 people in a house, there's music and shakes, and there's this big presentation. No, challenge party is me and Susan at the back of the car in the Walmart parking lot, and me sharing the challenge with her. That is a challenge party, right? I can't tell you how many folks I've landed in a parking lot, right? Your car should be loaded with shake mix, magazines, right? You should be branded with cold contacts.
How do you do that?
It's a skill. It's a skill that you learn and you develop. It's not something you're born with, all right? It takes practice, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. Here's my thinking. Let's say it's a cold contact. I'm going to ask a question. If I'm in Walmart and I see a person that I want to contact, usually if I'm in a store or a setting like that, I'm going to, approach this person with wherever we are. And I'm going to talk about whatever we're doing in this store, right? If we're in Walmart, I'm not going to say, hey, how about the Jags, I'm going to talk about whatever we're looking for in Walmart and try to develop some kind of a conversation with the person. Now, as soon as I get into a conversation, because it all happens really fast. Now, okay, I can say something like this. You know what? This may be way out of left field. When I say that, now I can say just about anything. Right? I can say, the sky's falling, right? Or I can say, how about the Jags? Or I can say, hey, have you ever heard of the 90-day challenge? My number one question is, have you ever heard of the 90-day challenge? Have you ever heard of it? And then I shut up and they go, no, what is that? Now, right here is where you win or lose. You got one shot. Because if you say it's a pretty good thing we're doing, that's not good enough. If they say, well, what is it? And you say, done. Okay? Yeah. This is practice. Remember, this is how you have to think. We're going to pay you $10,000 a month to go out and share this. You're a professional promoter of the 90-day challenge. You should have an answer to what we do. Come on now, right? Absolutely. There shouldn't be an or this is a pretty good thing we're doing. It should roll off your tongue. Have you ever heard of the 90? Well, let's back up. We're in Walmart. We meet this person. Seems like a pretty cool person, right? Hey, you know what, Susan, this may be way out of left field. Pause a second. Have you ever heard of the 90-day challenge? Shut up. She goes, no, what is that? Here's where the answer comes in. Well, it's a 90-day fitness and weight loss challenge. I just started it, all right? It's helping people lose weight, put on lean muscle. I think it's something that you might ought to take a look at. And then I stop talking, because that's enough. Don't give them everything about the challenge in the initial contact. Now she asked another question. Well, you know, have you seen any results? Where did all this originate from? And what is the challenge all about? You know, who turned you on to it? You know, where do I get more information? She's going to ask one of about 8, 9 different questions. This is where you go to the funnel. Just like on the back of all of our cards. Anybody has a card with the 1, 2, 3 step on it? Let me have one if you have it. Marcus or Russ. This is where you go to the funnel. You go to step 1 on the funnel, and you know, step 1 says what? Call the VI line, the 4-minute line. You know, I'm in Walmart. Maybe I'm going to pull out my card at that minute and say, hey, here's the Body by Vi, to give her a visual to go with what I just said. Here's the 90-day challenge. Here's some information that will give you more information about what we do. Call this VI line. All right, here's my website. Remember, this is a cold contact. This person doesn't really know you, so they don't trust you enough maybe to give you their number yet. But what I'm doing is I'm giving them a card and giving them some specific steps to follow to get more information. At the end of this, I've given Susan my card. At the end of this, I'm going to say, hey, Susan, if you don't mind, why don't you jot your number on the back of my card so that I can contact you in a couple of days to see what you thought about the information. Notice what she's doing. She's giving me my card back with her number on it. And if she says no, so no big deal. She's got my number, take it. Yeah, that's a skill. It's just something, right? Yep. So, go back to the initial contact. You know, if it's a friend and you're making the phone call, same story. Have you ever? You don't have to do the hey, this may be way out of left field. This is a buddy of yours, right? Hey, have you ever heard of the 90-day challenge? Don't ask them, would you drive a black BMW if I gave you $600 a month? No, that's beating around the bush. Ask the direct question. Have you ever heard of the 90-day challenge? They say, nope, what is that? Well, it's a 90-day fitness and weight loss challenge. I just started it. It's helping folks lose weight, put on lean muscle. You need to try it. That's enough. You said enough. If you stop right there, I promise you every time they will ask another question. This is when you go to the funnel. You say, hold on a second. You got to hear this. Don't say, hey, you got 10 minutes to listen to this and go to this website. No, because everybody's busy. Don't ask them. Say, hey, hold on a second. You got to hear this. Now, one thing I'm going to give you too is be excited. There's nothing that can replace just flat out brand new excitement, okay? If you're not excited, then don't make calls right now and don't go see people. Wait until you're excited, all right? Because you get one shot. You get one shot at that initial contact. And if you bomb, then you bomb. Now, yeah, you can go land them later, but you want to be excited and you want to give it your best shot on that initial call.
And I think that's so true. What you're saying is that so many of us think it's our one shot, so we don't take the shot because we're afraid we're going to blow it. So really what you're saying is learn it, know it, practice it.
Practice.
You know, taking no shot is better than, taking the shot is better than taking no shot.
Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you get good at it, right? Correct. So you're not going to be as good. You're going to have to develop a ratio. You know, in the beginning, we were terrible. Yeah. We were botching this thing all up, right? You know? Well, but I'm going to tell you what we was excited. See? Nothing can replace that. That's right. Man, people wanted to know, what were these guys so excited about? We were just calling everybody we knew. Are you kidding? Steve lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks drinking a milkshake. You got to try it. Well, what is all this about? Listen, come to the house Sunday at 6:30. You got to try it. Steve's coming to town. Who is Steve? Who is Steve? He was nobody, but it was excitement. We built up an expectation that you were going to meet this guy, Steve Lawrence.
Well, I also think that you just nailed it on the head also, though. You were on a challenge that had an experience. I think a lot of us not a lot of us, a lot of people in general don't actually go for the challenge, but you have to really be on a challenge all the time.
Yep.
Because that was your story, and that's what makes you excited.
Yep.
So you have to actually have results and feel things so that you can get excited about it.
Yeah, get on the challenge, use the product, develop a story. If you don't have one, get one. And if you don't have one yet, if you're brand new, then share the story of the person who, shared the opportunity with you. I was sharing Steve's story the first 3 weeks, and like I said, they were asking, well, who is Steve,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sharing this with people that have no idea who Steve is, right? Didn't matter. Steve lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks drinking a milkshake. You got to try it. Okay, right? And then once I lost 12 pounds my first month, then it was my story. Look, I lost 5 pounds in the first week. 8 in 2 weeks, 12 pounds in a month. Drinking 1 shake a day. Are you kidding me? And every person goes, well, what are you doing? And what is that all about? Where do you get them from? How much do they cost? What does it taste like?
Does it always have to be about weight loss?
No, it doesn't. Look at Marcus. Are you kidding me?
Fitness.
Yeah, right. You're gonna
I always say health and wellness challenge.
Yeah, well,
is what I
because
say.
you've already seen health benefits too. There's a ton of health benefits. Whatever the story.
Son and you.
They're going to want to hear that it's
Right.
that you can increase the muscle mass, because if not, they're going to go, oh, it's not, I don't want to lose weight.
Right. You're limiting your audience.
Yeah, that's the perspective he's coming from. But can a stay-at-home housewife promote fitness and come across as legit?
Well, that's where you would put
res-
Nick on the phone with them.
Well,
What if I
shit.
met somebody Marcus's age and I'm 50-something fat and at
Sounds like me the other
home,
night, yeah.
how,
Tell him
I'm not
Marcus's story.
believable.
Tell him Marcus's story.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
Kevin's
Tell
I was about to say it doesn't have, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get to know Marcus.
Kevin,
and
you
his story.
said to have them write their name on your card and hand it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't have your information. Is that like you're pulling it
Give him
back?
another one.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll give them a second card, but here's the deal. Most people aren't going to call you,
Oh, I
so you can just take those cards and hand them out at the gas station if you want. I mean, the most important thing is that you get their information so that you're in control of the contact.
Right.
See?
Great.
Yeah.
I thought you were just taking it back though, not giving them.
You can, yeah. Because there's a 3-step pattern on the card, and you can say, hey, here's the pattern. After you get their number, hey, here's my card again, take it home, check out the website, and I'll give you a call Thursday after 6.
And you could always pull out a pad, but that looks so set up and so cheesy.
Oh, yeah,
This is so natural that, you're using a card
Always
for
have
that
to have a
reason.
pen now.
Yeah, well,
Well, a lot of times I'll beat around like I don't have a pen. I mean,
then there's a different one.
yeah, and if we're in a store, hey, I'll get one. I mean,
exactly. So it doesn't look like it's forced.
And here's another one. Everybody has a cellular telephone, right? I mean, just when they start giving you their number, I pull out my phone and say, hey, I'll go ahead and call you now.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That also makes you look like you're up with the times.
Right.
You're
Yep.
innovative.
Yep.
So,
When you have somebody who wants to become a promoter or has leaned towards that and the things that they presented, but they don't commit, how long do you let it drag before you say, I'm moving to somebody else?
Well, this is Kyle Passetti got us started with this in the beginning. We're picking the low-hanging fruit right now, meaning right now we're going so fast. I don't have time to work on people, okay? I hope I can get this point across. All right. There's a certain amount of folks that are just going to get in because you offer the program to them, okay? There are some people that are going to take work. You're going to have to see them 2 or 3 or 4 times, right? But here, and some of those people are worth going back to, okay? Look at me. I turned it down the first couple times. I was worth coming back to, right? But my thinking in the beginning was, okay, I'm just going to go offer it to a large amount of folks as fast as possible and find the ones that are just ready to go right now. The ones that I got to work on, I'll come back to those next month, right? I'll have a story. I'll have a testimony. I'll have, a financial story that I can share with them. So if I offer it and you say, well, I don't know right now. I'll tell you what, listen, this thing is exploding. I've never seen anything like it. looks like you need some time to think about it, consider it. I'm going to give you a call in 2 weeks, all right? And I'm going to give you an update on what's going on. I was telling everybody,
I love
listen,
that.
you're going to give me 2 weeks. See me in 2 weeks. And I mean, as you can see what happened in our story, I go back to them and they be like, sign me up now, twice.
Past the $499 financial hurdle.
Well, I mean, if you're continually,
I'm in a poor area.
I was about to say, if you're continually running into that, then you're going to have to raise the level of people that you're dealing with, right? You know, here's the deal. This is an opportunity. You know, we're blessed to be a part of this, all right? And the reality of it is if you've done some things that have put you in a position where you're just not able to come up with the money right now, then I'm sorry, right? Maybe you're going to have to take a month to get in a position to start a company. I mean, this is a privilege to be able to do this, right? So, yeah, it's an option. It's not like, oh, just because you're here, you can start this company, right? So sometimes, you know, it may take a couple of weeks for that person to get the funds together, right? Okay, I didn't have $500. I borrowed it from the first guy I signed up with. But you know what? I didn't let it stop me. I didn't let it stop me. So I was that guy. I was that guy that didn't have the $500. I borrowed it. So I deal with that a lot. I get that question a lot. That's not an excuse. If your tires went flat on the only car that got you back and forth to work, you're going to fix them.
You'll find it.
You'll find it. So, you know, that is not an excuse. And some people really are just in a point where they can't come up with an extra $500. But you know what? Okay, that's fine today, but 2 weeks from now, a month from now, right? There's something that you can probably sell that ain't making you no money at home, okay, that you could sell to get the money to do this. So, I don't spend a whole lot of time on that because you are looking for people who have done a little bit more than be average. See, you got to raise the bar, raise the bar. You know, we're looking for the busy people. We're looking for the players. We're looking for the folks that have, you know, are saying, you know what, I don't have time. That's why they kept coming back to me, because they knew I was busy. I didn't have time. But they knew if they could get me to take a look at it, I could put them in front of some decent people. Nobody I talked to was a millionaire and had all the money they needed. No, it was just everyday people like me who were just on this side of being broke, you know?
The one thing that I noticed recently is Rick Gutman posted something the other day about common ground, and that really resonated with me. I think that if you're open and honest with people, like the whole time I was trying for the BMW, I didn't tell anybody that I didn't have a car. But once I got the BMW, now I tell people, you know, the BMW is a lot nicer to me now because I didn't have a car.
Right.
For 2 months, I went without a car. So I think if you come down in this economy, and it's hard for everybody to get $4.99, I think if you really, you know, talk from your heart and you're really open and honest and create that common ground, say, you know what, it wasn't easy for me. A lot of people think, oh, you did that for 20 years, you could do this, it's easier for you. But I think if you really talk to them at their level, we know it's hard for everybody out there. For most everybody, it is hard. And you have to build your belief system that it's so strong that you know that this is something that could change their life. Because that's what I do now. When I offered it to your 19-year-old son, I said to him, it's $4.99. I gave up the $49, and he had 21-year-old son, sorry. And so I've changed my belief because now I believe it's possible, and I believe it could change somebody's life. So that I say to people, I don't care if you have to sell something to get the $4.99 now. Not that I've been that successful yet, but it's the mentality that I have now. So you said something about 60 to 90 minutes a day of income-producing activity, and what do you consider that?
Well, there's only 5 things that make money flow in this business, in this PPFPP, right? Prospecting, presenting, following through, personal development and developing relationships within the team, and then promoting, all right? Now, when you start looking at income generating, you know, what's gonna get me profitable right out of the blocks, right? I don't think the brand new guy needs to take, you know, 3 hours and read, you know, The Magic of Thinking Big on his first day. No, the brand new guy needs to go in and prospect, okay? that is where the lion's share of his income is going to come from in the first month. We put 18 personals in the first month. I didn't know anything about this, all right? I wasn't just sitting there reading a book for 2 hours a day, all right? I mean, I knew I needed to read books, but the number one thing we did was prospect in the first month. So of the PPFPP, prospecting and presenting the challenge, you know, the idea of the 90-day challenge to as many people as you can in that first 30 days, 60 days is the number one thing you can do. And, you know, as you start to go in this thing, of course, the personal development, the follow-up is very important, right? And then promoting, you know, the larger events like the group challenge parties, the local success trainings, regionals and nationals. But 80% of the time that you spend in the business should be personally enrolling promoters on your team. 80%. 19% of the time should be in personal development and developing relationships within the organization with your team. 1% is spent on putting out fires. So 80% of the time bringing in new people personally. 19% of the time personal development, developing relationships within the team. 1% on the junk that you don't want to have to deal with. And if you follow that, Kyle Passetti told me that the first month, 80%, Kev, 80%. And I would ask him each time I spoke to him, how many personals do you have? I remember one time he had like 30-something personals right when I started. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm going to get 30. You know what? I hit 30, we hit ambassador. The month we put 30 in. And one time I asked him, I says, how many do you have now? He says, 65. You know how many I had when I hit 5-star? And he was a 5-star at the time. 64. So, you know, Nick, and one time he says, Nick's got at least or more, at least as many personals or more than myself. So here were the top 2 money earners, you know, at that time with more than 60 personals. So if I'm going to go out and attempt to go ambassador 3, 4, 5-star, then probably I'm going to have a significant amount of personals. And one other thing on that, I'm getting excited here, is one other thing on that is here's the deal. When you start, you should have a goal to go out and register, of course, your 3 promoters. But here's the deal. 3 promoters is just the beginning, okay? You want to go out and personally enroll as many people as you can within a 90-day time period. Because what happens is when you pull these people in together, they develop, like I said earlier, a chemistry, a camaraderie. There's a team that's being formed, and they feed off of each other's excitement. But if you bring in one guy, and you work with this one guy, and you're, you know, first of all, you're frustrated, he ain't moving fast enough, okay? He's frustrated that you're riding him to move faster, right? But if you went out and you bought Russ in and 5 other people over the next month and a half, now Russ doesn't feel so pressured, and he also is gonna follow what you did by example. If you're the leader, then lead by example. If you're telling him to go get 3 and you got 1 this month, then what is Russ gonna do? See, we figured out over the years in networking, the numbers are, if you personally enroll 20 people, 6 to 8 of them are going to be long-term, meaning they're going to stay with you for the duration, okay? 3 to 4 of them are going to be ready to go now, and you're going to end up with 1 superstar. 1 person that's just going to go out and crank it no matter what and go straight to the top. But God knows I wish I knew who the 1 was, because if he was number 4, then I just go get number 4, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But we don't know, so we have to go get the 20, and it has to be within a short period of time so that it's compressed, there's excitement, there's chemistry. It just all, you can't do 20 over 2 years. It doesn't work that way. You got to do it.
So be a leader, not a manager.
Right. Don't sit in the Oval Office and call the shots. Go get them, team. No. I'm out there every day putting on new personals. I mean, I'm gonna go put on probably 5 new personals this month. So, I'm sorry, I get excited about that.
No, I think it's fabulous.
How do you prospect someone, let's say that they are a successful businessman, Andy, in their own right, making as much money doing something else?
Right.
already?
Three-way calls is one of the most effective things that you can do. You know, that third-party validation of someone in your support team that may be on that level. You know, you wanna contact them and talk more about their story, not your own. You know, when I started, I was talking about Kyle Passetti like he was my uncle, okay? You got to meet Kyle. Are you kidding me? You know, this guy's awesome, right? You got to hear his story. And I three-way Kyle Passetti in. Every day I was doing three-way calls with him. So if I had a player or someone who's done above average, I was talking about Kyle Passetti. Now, eventually I developed a decent story, but here's the cool part. Even as an ambassador, I wouldn't talk about my story, I'd talk about his. It was always better to talk about someone else's story. And you know what the third party call does? Kyle would then edify me back to my new guy. And he said, listen, you got to follow what Kevin's telling you to do, right? Whatever Kevin's saying is right. And he just echoed what I was saying. And this guy now, when I hang up the phone, Russ is listening to me, GST, GST, right? So third party calls, three-way calls with someone in your support team. Get them on the phone with that person.
Which means not me, it means Kevin.
Or someone, you know, RD and above. RD and above.
These are my UPS man. I want you to
Yeah.
talk to him.
Yeah, UPS guys are easy.
Except for mine, you know?
Yeah.
My UPS man, he keeps telling me, oh, I don't need to lose any weight or nothing. I said, it's not all about weight,
Yeah.
it's about your health.
Yep.
I said, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, but have you shown him the BMW lately?
He hasn't stopped by yet.
I know.
But I know it.
Why
but,
hasn't he? Yeah.
But he says, I've always wondered what's in this box. I keep
Isn't that
looking
something?
at it everywhere
I'm
in
seeing
town.
these little green
I
guys.
said, open up one and then look at it, and then you'll be, you know, enticed. I said, next time you come by, tell me what time you come, and I'm gonna have a shake ready for you.
There you go.
You know?
There you go.
And it's, I'm gonna
Put
get
shake
'em.
mix in them.
I'm
That's
gonna
the
get 'em.
number one thing you can do is
I'm gonna
put
get
shake in them. Don't talk a whole lot. Shake in them is the number one thing you can do. I mean, once they taste the shake, it's half the battle.
Right.
It's half the battle.
It's the best
It's
taste.
downhill from there. Yeah. I mean, it's
Anything you want to ask Kevin?
No, but I'm just listening. No,
Okay,
that's
good.
great. Yeah.
Anybody else got anything they would die and ask Kevin?
We're just sponges. We're just absorbing.
well, you know what? Now's the time to follow the system, GST, GST. You know, those 5 steps: names list, schedule your party, pre-party, you know, the additional party promotion information about social media and all of that, and then promoting the next big event. I mean, the next regional is going to be in Detroit, Michigan, in this area, right? I mean, you guys
We're
need.
gonna go to Florida.
Oh, y'all coming to Florida? Well, come
Go
on.
to Detroit.
I want to go to North Carolina.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we're thinking
I'm with
about
you on
North
that.
North
Carolina.
Carolina, are you going
But
to
Florida's
do
good.
that?
I'll be in the Florida regional. I'll be probably, depending on how many of you guys go to Detroit, I may be there. And I will be in Texas and
Ooh, I've wanted to go to Texas.
Austin, I think.
Austin.
I think.
Jimmy Sparks is in Austin.
Oh, we
Let's
should go there.
Yeah,
Yes, we
let's
should.
go to
Bring
Yes.
Austin.
Bring Nikki.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
we'll get to see Sparks.
Yeah, February is going to be an amazing month. The regionals are going to take everything and just throw it into major, even more momentum. And then, of course, nationals the next month. April, May, June through the Vitality in the summer. I mean, these next 6 to 8 months, you can take the next 6 to 12 months and get your life's work done for money in the work that you do in the next 6 to 12 months.
Totally agree.
I'm serious. You can take and get your life's work done for money as a priority. I'm not saying you won't do something for work, you know, because you're gonna, I mean, I'm working now. Can y'all tell I'm working hard? But if I didn't come to Maine today, all right, there's still a certain amount that's gonna come in this month no matter what. If I didn't wake up today, I mean, if I went to Nick, we did a 5-star called Nick's in somewhere in South Africa.
Oh, yeah,
And he's
yeah.
been there a long time.
Yeah.
And
He
I'm
was in
thinking,
Costa Rica.
he left,
And then he was in Aruba.
well, he left Aruba and went to Africa. He didn't come home. And I'm thinking, now that is cool. I mean, I flew from South Beach to Las Vegas. I thought that was a big deal, you know, for me. You know, but wow, can you imagine Aruba, South Africa? Weeks at a time. I mean, a month,
When does he have to go? Whenever he wants.
whenever he's
Whenever he
done.
wants.
But that's what's possible in this momentum right here. It's only in this momentum where you can do that in the next 12 months. See, 5 years from now, can't guarantee you that, because we're going to hit, you know, a certain, that momentum is only a certain run, and then you get in the stability phase, right? And the company's still going to grow, but not like it did in momentum. So we get one shot at momentum. So go, if you're going, go now. Go now. Got it?
Absolutely.
We all in?
I'm all in. Yeah, we're all in.
Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3, Visalis. Visalis. All right.